Hey y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to KateMas, where I'm uploading a video every day in December. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And today I'm very excited to be doing this video, which if you're not new around here, you know the setup means. It's my Shop My Stash for Palettes video, where I share with you guys all the palettes that I'm reaching for and I'm going to pull out and try to use for the month. And this month is December, so we're going to be talking about and swatching a bunch of new palettes that I have lined up to want to try this month. And then I'll also share with you guys a little behind the scenes of me refreshing my everyday makeup drawer and picking the new makeup that I want to try and use for the month of December. But at this point, let's go ahead and just switch over to me shopping my stash. It's not going to be anything voiceover or me talking through. I'm just going to put some very calming and relaxing music to watch me go through my everyday makeup drawer, taking out the makeup that I no longer want to use in December, and then going around to my new makeup and then my makeup collection back here and selecting the makeup that I want to use in the month of December. So let's go ahead and just jump over to that, and then when we come back, we'll be ready to talk about the palettes I'm going to use for December and do some swatches. Alright, so now that we have looked over my shop, my stash, we are ready to talk about the palettes. So first off, I'm going to show you guys all of the new palettes that I have that I'm very excited to get into, and then we'll get to the swatches after that. But I do want to say before we get into that, that the palettes I'm showing right now, I'm not going to promise to use all of them this month because I just have too many. However, I want to do first impression tutorials and palette bingos with all of the palettes that I'm showing you. So that's why I'm going to show you guys all of them. We'll swatch them all out together because I'm really curious to see how they look swatched out. And I'm going to do videos with all of them so you guys have at least one video from me using it for the first time, that sort of thing. And then from there, I'm going to set it aside, probably the majority. I think one or two I'm definitely going to use this month, but I'm going to set the majority of the side till January when I'm going to test them out and be able to share reviews with you guys. Because this month I'm trying to do a lot of end of the year reviews and I need to kind of go back and try a couple palettes and just refresh my memory on things, and I want to be able to focus on those and not so much the new palettes and trying to fit the new palettes into end of the year reviews. You know, I want to keep my end of the year, my best of the best, two palettes that I have a thorough review on, as opposed to these new palettes that I just got and maybe have only done a couple looks with. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, let me just go ahead and show you guys all the new palettes that I'm definitely going to try at some point, hopefully in January, but I might dabble in a little bit in December just to see how the month goes, maybe towards the end of the month after I've done my, you know, ranking all my palettes and, you know, sharing with you guys the best of the best. Once those videos are done and recorded, then I can play with these newer palettes. But anyway, this palette is the Colourpop Star Wars The Mandalorian palette. This palette, I finally received it and I've already done a video with it, swatching it, so I'm not going to be swatching it here, but I do want to show you guys because I do have this. So I will be using it at some point December or January, and I will be sharing a review in a palette roundup video, but I just want to show you guys really quick in this video that I finally have it. And if you want to see swatches in one look that I did with it, that video is already live. I will link it up here or down in the description box. I also received the BK Beauty True Beauty palette, which is this very neutral palette, and I know this is going to shock you, but I did do a first impressions with this palette. It is coming. I cannot wait to show you guys because I was shocked by my reaction to this palette. I'll leave it at that. Something to look forward to in the weeks ahead whenever I put up that video. But we will go ahead and swatch this palette out so you guys can see what it looks like on my arm. Next up, I have the Musee Beauty Van Gogh palette. I do have a first impressions with this already live on my channel, so I will just swatch it out here, but I'll leave that video link if you want to go watch it. I didn't swatch it out in that video, so that's why I want to swatch it here so you guys can see the swatches. Next, I have the Beauty Bean and Shroud Cosmetics It's Freakin Vast palette. We're going to swatch this out today because while I have done a bunch of looks with this already and I'm working on a 3 looks 1 palette plus review video on this, I haven't gotten to swatch it with you guys yet, so I want to swatch it in this palette. I'm so very excited to have this palette finally. So excited. I also have the M Cosmetics Monet Jasper palette. This little palette right here, it's beautiful. I cannot wait to dive into this. I will be doing a first impressions video just so I can play with it once because I've just been looking forward to it for so long, and we're going to swatch it in today's video, but this will probably be a palette that I try out in the new year. I also have the RawBeauty Cosmetics Peppermint Mocha palette. I will be using this month just because, like, look at this color story. Look at this color story. It's so winter, like the whole theme is winter. So I want to use it in the winter. I want to use it around Christmas time. So I am planning to use this palette this month in December for sure, but I might hold off on using it until later in the month. I don't plan on doing a first impressions video with this. I don't have any plans because I feel like this, I need to check. I think it's limited edition, so I don't know if a video at this point will be helpful because it's been out for a while. So let me know if you guys want to see a first impressions at least. Let me know and I can do that. I finally got the Barrio palette from TerraMoons Cosmetics. I have it on my eyes today. I just finished filming a first impressions with this, but we're going to swatch it because I didn't swatch it in that video and I want to see how the swatches look and I want to share the swatches with you guys. So we're going to be swatching this today. Let me know if you want to see 3 looks 1 palette with this. As I said, I just did a first impressions. It's on my eyes today. A little bit of a sneak peek there, but if you want to see how it was to get this look, stay tuned and we'll talk about that more in a couple days whenever I do put that video up. And then last up, I have the Colourpop and RawBeautyKristi At Forest Sight palette. This palette is so pretty. We're definitely swatching it out. And I asked on my Instagram if you guys wanted to see just the first impressions or if you wanted to see a comparison with this palette to the Subculture. And overwhelmingly on Instagram, it was do a comparison to Subculture. But let me know on here in the comments of this video which you would like to see because I'd like to hear what my audience on YouTube would prefer, if you just want a first impressions using this palette, or if you would like me to do one eye with this palette and one eye with the Subculture palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I can do that, so let me know. I will definitely be doing one video with this, but I don't really plan to dive too much into this palette until the new year just because of I just don't have time, or maybe at the end of the month I can, but I'm really excited to own it. These colors, these tones are just so me, so grungy, so beautiful. But yeah, I think that is everything. Let me see if I got everything. This is the stack of palettes we're going to be swatching, with the exclusion of the Colourpop Mandalorian because I've already swatched that. But we're going to swatch all of these, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments which palettes you definitely want to see first impressions or 3 looks 1 palettes. Give me your feedback down below, because the more I hear of like, yes, I want a 3 looks 1 palette with the, you know, El Barrio palette, I'll definitely make it a priority. It might not be till the new year, but I'll definitely try and do that if I hear a lot of feedback that you guys would find that helpful. So let's go ahead and just transition over. I'm going to point my camera down and we're going to get to swatching. Okay, so here is an overshot of all the palettes that we're going to be swatching today. There are a ton of palettes. Oh my goodness, this is gonna take forever. So we're just going to jump right into it so this video isn't super duper long. We're gonna start with the Peppermint Mocha palette. Here is the inside. It is so very pretty, and let's just get to swatching. I'm not gonna be saying names and whatnot just because I feel like that'll make it a lot longer. Let's go ahead and see how this looks all swatched out. I've only had experience with one other Ruby May palette in the past, but I had a pretty good experience. It was a Pop Zombie palette I think I got in a subscription box that I'm blanking on the name of it. But I was pretty happy with it. So I have high expectations of this palette. If I remember, I think the mattes were maybe a little weak, but they could be built up, and then the shimmers were pretty, which is kind of what I'm seeing in this swatch here. But I feel like the mattes don't look like so dry, like they're not going to stick. They just might be one of those buildable mattes. But yeah, that's a really pretty color story. And those shimmers, especially the silver and the red, wow, they're swatched beautifully and they feel so good. Like, look at that silver. Wow. Okay, El Barrio from TerraMoons Cosmetics. This packaging, by the way, wow, so pretty. Look at those colors. They just look so intense. Let's get to swatching. They all feel crazy amazing. Like, I can't get over how smooth they feel, and oh my goodness, swatching, wow. That matte, now my hand was just a teeny bit damp, which is my bad. So I think that's why it's discolored a little bit. So next time I do swatches, I'll try to dry off my hand a bit better. But like, look how nice they are swatching. Yeah, my hand's more dry now, so that makes sense why I didn't do that. As I already said, I just finished a first impressions, and I don't want to give anything away. I know it's kind of out of order. I should have put the other video up first. Do you see the fallout I'm getting just by like putting my finger over? Like, it's just so soft. Yeah, well, I don't want to give anything away. All I'll say is stay tuned. I've got some thoughts, but you'll see that very soon in my first impressions video. The kick up wise, while I clean off my hand, I can show you guys. It's pretty intense. Like, I was not digging into the palette at all, but like, look how much kick up there are in all of the mattes. Not saying that's a bad thing, but definitely something I like to point out when I can remember, because I know some people aren't crazy about kick up or just find it more difficult to work with and more of a mess. So if you're someone who likes to do your eye makeup first, something to consider is there is a ton of fallout when I use this. So anyway, yeah, that is the El Barrio palette. Definitely a first impressions coming hopefully soon. Next is the Van Gogh from Musee Beauty. I do already have a first impressions video with this up, but I didn't swatch it in that video, and I kind of like to have swatches available somewhere on my channel, so we're going to be swatching them in here. Let me get the swatches. Let me dry off my arm just so I don't do that again. And now we can swatch. I will have this first impressions video linked if you want to go watch that. But here are these. As an update to the smell, I still can smell it. It's not terrible. It's definitely more faint. So if you're someone who's sensitive to smells, something to consider. But I mean, I've only used this one other time. I've opened it a handful of times, so maybe it just needs more time to air out. But there are the swatches for the Van Gogh from Musee Beauty. Such a beautiful grungy palette. It's time for the It's Freakin' Bats palette by Shroud and Butte Bean. This color story is so beautiful. I've had so much fun. As I said, I've already done 3 looks with it. I plan to use it again tomorrow. I'm so all about this palette, basically. Let's go ahead and swatch it though, because I haven't actually swatched it out at all on myself, even off camera, and I haven't done it on camera. So let's swatch it. I will say, swatching this and feeling it for me swatches 1,000 times better than the 2 other palettes, the Creepy Cute and the Divinity palette. Like, I really like both of those palettes, but when I swatched them, when I did a review, they were the worst swatches I think I'd ever seen. Like, I had to build them up for the video and they were still really bad. However, on the eyes, like, the quality was amazing, so I didn't really care, but that's what I was kind of expecting when I got this palette. However, as you can see, like, look at these swatches. They're so soft. The shimmers and the mattes are crazy pigmented. I am so impressed. And just look at that. Like, it took no work to build up. I still got so much left on my fingers. Like, do you see that shimmer and shine? Ugh. They did amazing with this. This quality is outstanding and the color story is so up my alley. Okay, next we're going to swatch the Monet Jasper palette from M Cosmetics. This is the version 2. She has 2 versions, one for lighter, one for deeper skin tones. I picked the deeper skin tones because I like more color. But let's feel, oh, they feel so nice. The pigmentation on her mattes are absolutely beautiful. All right, so let's get to swatching. Really nice. I feel like they're a bit thinner than I remember her other mattes being. Maybe I just don't remember it right, but I feel like her other mattes, I think I own 2 or 3. I just bought single ones. They remind me more like this formula. It was so intense. It just, oh, it was so buttery smooth and pigmented. Oh my goodness, was I even in frame? I'm so sorry about that. Look at that shimmer though. Whoa. So I don't know, those first 3 weren't too impressive. Not that they felt bad, but they just didn't feel as soft and intense as I remember the other ones being. Oh wow, those shimmers though. Yeah, I feel like the top half is good. Maybe it's my fault. Let me re-swatch those at the bottom. Maybe that's just me. Because the rest of the mattes up there swatched really nice. Maybe my finger was, I don't know, wet or too dry. I don't know. Maybe a little bit better. Anyway, there's the palette. I love the color story. Those shimmers, oh my goodness, they look so shiny. I cannot wait to create some looks with this. I definitely want to do a first impressions with this palette. Okay, so as I'm realizing my arm is getting a little stained, let's go ahead and do this one because it is a neutral palette. I don't want the staining of my arm to hinder the swatches, so let's go ahead and swatch this one out. They feel really nice. Like, talk about buttery smooth. So smooth. Let's swatch it. Keep them down here. Now this is a very neutral palette, and I think the shimmers in here are marketed more as satins, like very soft. So, oops, I was totally in the way. So this palette's definitely not marketed towards me. However, I was sent this in PR, so I wanted to at least try it. Oof, that one was so soft. So I want to swatch it for you guys, and then like I said, I did do a first impressions that is coming, and I just want to use it because I am very appreciative that they sent it to me in PR. I think I dug into those a little too much because there is some fallout. And like I said, I already did a video with it, and I think you're going to be a little surprised on my thoughts on it. So a little bit of a teaser there, but stay tuned. Was I even in frame? Y'all, I can be the worst when it comes to swatches, but there's what it looks like. Definitely not my typical color story. Definitely not what I typically go for because I like to go for depth and color, but it is very pretty nonetheless. And while those are marketed as very soft shimmers, they're still really pretty and very, very pigmented. All right, and last up is the RawBeautyKristi palette. Let me make sure my arm is dry. The At Forest Sight palette. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. It gives me such subculture vibes, which I heard a few people saying it like it was a bad thing, and I'm like, why? Subculture is like no longer a thing, and I don't know, there's no trademark on a color story. So I was excited to see another brand kind of giving the same vibes, and I love these vibes, so I was excited, and I'm curious to see how I will like Colourpop's formula for these very grungy tones. That looks pretty. And like I said, I'm not really sure if I should just do a first impressions. I feel like everyone's already got their videos up. For some reason, whenever I order from Colourpop, one of my kids came in to ask me something, but anyway, whenever I order from Colourpop, they always take a long time to ship. And I don't know if it's just because of where I live or when I order. Like, I usually try to order pretty soon after it launches, but it always takes so long to ship. I feel like I finally get a shipping notification when people start getting their pellets. Oh, that's a matte with glitter, yuck. Anyway, there are the swatches, but it always takes me so long to get Colourpop. I feel like by the time I have it, I'm just too late to be putting out first impressions videos because everyone already has. So let me know if you'd like to just see a first impressions, a palette bingo, or you want to see me compare it to the subculture. Give me your thoughts down below. But yeah, with that swatched, that is the final palette we're going to swatch. I'm going to take these off my arm and go clean it because it is all sorts of stained. But yeah, that is the last palette. These are all the palettes I'm going to be trying December, January, but I just wanted to swatch them all with you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed this swatch party. I know some of them are upside down. That's kind of annoying me. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing these swatched with the exception of this. I will leave the video linked if you want to see that swatch. But yeah, I really enjoyed swatching these palettes with you guys. Alright, so those are all the swatches. Those are all the palettes that I have that are new that I'm definitely going to be doing first impression videos on, and I will be reviewing either towards the end of the month or maybe in January. We're just going to have to see how it goes. I want to use them all now, but I also know I really need to think about my end of the year favorites, and I want to use more before I officially rank them for 2020. So I just have to decide. I can't do both as much as I wish I could, so that is what I am doing. But I would love to hear your feedback on what you would like to see on my channel when it comes to this specific stack of palettes. I'd love to hear that down below in the comments. I really do take your guys' consideration and what you would like to see on my channel into consideration. I said that a little weird, but I do take your feedback into consideration. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, let me know all that down below in the comments. But with that said, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found this video helpful and informative and just enjoyable to watch. Yeah, with all that said, that is gonna do it for today's video. If you want to continue getting daily content from me, I'm over on Instagram. I'm LadyKatie92. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up on your way out, as it helps me in the whole YouTube algorithm. And with all that said, I will see you very soon in my next video tomorrow. Bye guys.